What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. Well, I just came back from the dentist office, and I hate going to the dentist because all that poking and prodding and needles and things like that just makes me just cringe to think about it. So I hate to go, but I go when I need to. Like this morning I had to go because I had a feeling in this tooth right here, and I could tell for a few days it was getting loose, and I knew it was going to come loose and come out. And yesterday I was rinsing my mouth out with salt water because I knew it was a bad tooth and having problems. And when I did that, it just came right out. So I spit it out in my hand. I said, yep, here we go to the dentist again. So this morning I got up. I didn't make an appointment or anything. I just drove up there to the dentist office and walked in. And he seen me this morning and looked at the tooth, and he said we can do, a root canal and put a cap on it, or we can extract it. So I said, let's go ahead and just take it out. So he made an appointment for a few days to go come back in and get this taken out. I hate it. I dread it. But it's got to be done. Some things you're better off to go ahead and get it done. If you have a bad tooth and it's going to keep giving you problems, just go ahead and get it taken out. That's my advice, because later on get infected, cause abscess, cause a lot of pain. And if you can't get to the dentist for whatever reason, you're going to be in a world of trouble, especially if you don't have any antibiotics, or can't go to someone to take care of that dental issue. So I got to go in, get it taken out here in a few days, and I dread it really bad, guys. So bad you can't. You probably can't imagine, most of you can't, how bad I dread that, but it's just the way it goes. You gotta suck it up and walk in. Your knees are knocking, you're scared, and your heart's pounding. Go in and get it done, because it's the best thing to do. Anyway, I often talk here on this channel about voting, about the fact that I think that voting at the federal level isn't going to fix anything, because in my opinion, it's all rigged. They are selected, they're not elected. That's why they don't care, about your opinion. They don't care what they do, because they know they can get elected or selected anyway. They know you can go vote however you want to go vote, and it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, because they put who they want to in office. Look at the last election. You had Joe Biden, who didn't get out of the basement, and you had Donald Trump. When he would go out and talk in front of a crowd, he would gather in, thousands and thousands of people. And Joe Biden, what few times he did go out, it was crickets. You might add 50 people, and most of them were security and media, and that was it. But yet, he was supposedly got, I think it was 10 million more views than what Barack Obama got. Biden got the most votes for a presidential candidate in American history. Not possible. And I couldn't say this a few weeks ago, but YouTube changed their policies. Now I can talk about this. But that, in my opinion, is completely wasted effort at the federal level. Now, I'm not saying not to go vote. If you want to go vote, go vote. It doesn't cost anything besides your gas to drive, from your home to wherever you vote at, or maybe you could even walk. Maybe it's that close, and go cast your vote. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to help anything either, I don't think, but go ahead and cast your vote if you want. But I think at the federal level, there's too much corruption in the electoral system. There's too much corruption in the government in general. The deep state is so deep-rooted, and they're so controlled right now, everything is at the federal level, that I don't care even if you did actually elect someone that was a wonderful candidate for president. Someone who actually wanted to change and do things and fix things. He couldn't do it because there's so much corruption at the federal level. Everything he would try to do would be blocked, would be torn down by the media. We saw some of that with Donald Trump. He would try to do something like build a border wall, and it was blocked every way they could block that. So they not going to get anything done, even if they did get someone in there. And if we did get someone in there, they actually cared about the country, was constitutional, cared about America, was a good moral person, wanted to limit government and maximize freedom. It's not going to happen at the federal level. So I always get, when I talk about this stuff, I always get the comments, so what's your solution? What's your solution? And my solution is, there is a solution. It's not going to fix the things at the federal level, but you're going to focus your solution on things you can actually influence and actually can control. Focus your political efforts locally. At the state level, it can be corrupt at the state level, but it's not nearly as likely to be as corrupt as at the federal level, because at the federal level, you know, we have the different states voting, the electoral college and everything. They can manipulate that to put in whoever they want to. So at the state level, your vote's more likely to actually count, especially if you have, you know, state where you have to show your ID to vote, and you can have more influence there at the state level, in my opinion. So vote for your governors, vote for your state Senate, your state Congress, and vote locally. Focus your efforts at the state level, but mostly locally at your county and city, town level. Vote for your sheriff. You know, if you have a sheriff running the sheriff's department and he doesn't agree with what the federal government's trying to do, like gun confiscation, for example, or something like that, or mask mandates, and he don't have to enforce that. He can refuse to enforce that. And right there, the power the federal government had in your area is pretty much gone. They can't do anything if the local sheriff don't want to support that, don't want to enforce what's coming down at the federal level. So vote for your governors, your state Congress, state Senate. Vote for your sheriff especially. Vote for your county mayors, your city mayors, your aldermen, your council members. Focus your political efforts locally. And if possible, if you live in a small town, you have to get to know these people. You have to get to know the sheriff. You can get to know the mayor. If you have any grievances, you can go into the sheriff's department, ask to speak to the sheriff, and go talk to the sheriff. Same thing with the mayor. You can actually walk in and go talk to these people. Tell them how you feel. Tell them what's going on. Explain your situation. Explain what's actually going on. Here in my county, when the whole COVID pandemic was going on, and they were trying to enforce, you know, all the mandates and the mask and the injections and things like that, I actually talked to the then mayor. He's not the mayor now, but he was the term before. I talked to the mayor then about all this, and I explained to him what was going on, and he listened. And they never did try to enforce, you know, any kind of mask mandates here or anything like that. The only place I think that forced the injection for employment was a local military contractor. I think they forced it because it was federal, and I would have quit if I still worked. I worked there years ago, but no issue then years ago, you know. But if they tried to force it on me now or then, I would have said, I'm gone. I've been out the door and gone. I would have took it. But I think that's the only one that tried to force that here. I could be wrong. But you can go in and talk to these people locally. Talk to your mayors, talk to your sheriff, talk to your alderman. You can be friends with these people. They might be your family. Run for office yourself in your local areas. If your local area shuts the federal crap down, they can't enforce that federal crap. If your local sheriff, deputies, police department don't want to enforce crap coming down from the federal level, they won't have to. And you won't be affected by that. So focus locally your political efforts. Don't worry about, like I said, vote if you want to, but it's not going to do any good in my opinion. But don't worry about all the federal level and the president. Don't get caught up in all that bunch of bullshit, because that's exactly what it is, just complete bullshit in my opinion. Also, focus your efforts on yourself, your own self-reliance, where you are. That way you can be prepared. You know, if you can raise a garden, have animals, have food storage, self-reliance, prepping, you're much better off than you are if you have nothing. Because if you are stockpiled, you can just stay home and not have to be troubled with all the stuff away from home. You control where you are. You control your own place. Make it comfortable. Make it self-sufficient. Make it self-reliant as much as you possibly can through allergies are killing me today, guys. Through your food storage, your gardening, your farm. If you have the room to have, you know, chickens, rabbits, ducks, goats, cattle, whatever you have room for, have that set up. Live self-sufficiently as you possibly can. Have as much food storage as you possibly can, because that way you're not subject to being starved out, being controlled through not having any food. You know, if you don't have any food and they control the food, you're going to be controlled by these people with the food, because you're going to be starving. If you can supply your own, It's not an issue. You can supply your own food. You already have your food stored. You can hunt, you can forage, you can fish, you can trap, you can raise a garden. And when they try to force their will on you or you starve, you can go. Again, sorry about the language, guys. This is finger language today because this is an important topic. And this is the way I feel about this topic when it comes to the federal government. And thirdly, the solution is to separate yourself from government as much as possible, especially government at the federal level and the government systems, i.e. cash. They control everyone with the fiat currency. And they've been controlling the world pretty much with the fiat currency for decades now. They control other nations. They control the people here. If you can separate yourself from that as much as possible, you'll be much better off. So guys, I'm talking about learning how to barter, stockpiling barter goods, putting your wealth instead of in currency, fiat currency, put that in gold, silver. Look into some cryptocurrencies, especially the privacy-based cryptocurrencies like Monero. Look into that. Put your resources, your financial resources in the things like that, gold, silver, your self-reliance, firearms, ammunition. But try to limit your dependence on cash as much as possible. And when you work, if you still have a job and you're working, you get that cash, pay your bills. Anything else you have left, stockpile food, ammunition, buy a new gun, buy some tools, buy some gold, buy some silver. Invest in, some privacy-based cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are confusing for a lot of people, and I'm not complete. There's people I know about it, but there's people who know more about it than I do. I had a chapter in my book, the Great Reset book that I put out, that goes into some detail, but there's people that know way more about this than what I know. I've messed with it some. I have some Monero, I have some Bitcoin, but as far as being Bitcoin rich, I'm not. I put most of my efforts towards, self-reliance and towards silver, especially some gold, but mainly silver and lead and brass. Ammunition will always have value. It has a great storage life. I have shot ammunition. That was a 7.62 by 39 ammo. It was, I think it was Yugoslavian, and it was made back in the early 70s, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a few years ago I had that. I bought a whole case of that, and I had an AK then, and I shot probably 500 rounds out of that case. The ammunition that was as old as I am, and everyone, boom, 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 not a failure whatsoever. So ammunition will store pretty much indefinitely, and it holds value. It increases in value. Property increases in value. If you can pay your property off your land, your land where you try to be self-reliant at, you can pay that off. Go ahead and pay that off. Not financial advice, just common sense advice. So, focus your political efforts locally, self-reliance, and try to separate yourself from the system as much as possible, especially the fiat currency system. That's my solution. Have any other suggestions? Leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Creekmore out here, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.